Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Today's video is going to be about interviews. It's something that a lot of people struggle with anyway, let alone if you have anxiety. So in this video I just thought I'd go over some tips that can hopefully help you manage your anxiety, ace the interview so that you can get the job that you want. Let's just get on into it. Interviews are hard for anybody because you're applying for something that you want and there is actually quite a high chance of rejection. That of course brings about feelings of nerves, feelings of unease. You're putting yourself in a position to be judged, which again isn't very pleasant. Now, those are difficult things for anybody to deal with, but if you have anxiety, those things usually are classed as triggers. Being judged is a big thing for people with social anxiety. Agoraphobic is being trapped, and you kind of are trapped in an interview. You don't want to just walk out because you know that in that case you would not get the job. And fear of rejection, fear of failure, I've got another video on it, and those things really do bring about anxiety. That's not to say that the interview itself is going to go bad, but just the thought of the things that could go wrong, that definitely can trigger anxiety, and that can then lead to those things happening. If you can manage your anxiety, then there is a good chance you won't have to leave and you will be able to give your best performance and answer the questions in the best way possible. In my first year of uni, we were given a book, and the book was Employability Skills. And in there, it goes through different things that employers look for, but there's a part specifically about interview skills. It's common knowledge normally because they try and train you for it when you're applying for uni, so you learn about interviews from a younger age, but obviously applying for a place at university is usually easier than applying for a job because universities want you because you are paying them. An employer has to pay you, so you really have to pitch that you are an asset to the company, not a liability. The first thing to do when preparing for an interview is to research the company that you are applying for. You want to show them that you care about that job, not just that it's a job, a 9 to 5, just so that you can pay your bills. You want to show that you are invested in the company. You want to show that you understand their values, what they stand for, what they want from their staff. Showing them that will already put you in their good books almost immediately. Show that you're enthusiastic, show that you care. If you get rejected, it's hard because you don't want that. A self-defense mechanism for rejection is to say, well, I'm not bothered, so I don't care if I get rejected. That doesn't apply in interviews. It's not worth putting that facade. Yes, it will hurt if you get rejected, but it's better to try and try your best and know, well, actually, I know that I did what I could and I didn't get it, so it's just not meant to be. When preparing yourself for the interview, also think about the questions that they are likely to ask. There's so many resources online. As I said in the book, it goes through so many different things, like why are you interested in applying in the company? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What skills can you bring? What's your previous experience in this kind of industry? Be prepared for those questions and formulate good answers. Sometimes people are lucky enough to be able to wing it, but again, when you're anxious, you might not really be able to formulate the best sentences possible. So try and write down answers beforehand that you can kind of learn, memorize. You don't need to memorize it word for word, but you just want to make sure you get the right gist of it. When it comes to the actual interview itself, there are a few different things you can do. Breathing exercises, I know, are mentioned all the time, but they do help just minimize the anxiety because you don't realize that you're holding your breath. You don't realize that your breathing's increasing. So by practicing breathing exercises, you are just going to keep that anxiety at a lower level. Progressive muscle relaxation therapy, that's normally something you should do when you're in a quiet space or in a safe space. Now, interview processes, there's normally a waiting room and you just have to sit there, and usually they run overtime, so you will be sat down for a longer period of time. That's something I struggled with in an interview because I thought it's just in, out, but it wasn't. There was a group of us, so my interview didn't go so well. I never actually got to the interview stage of that job, but I did learn the format. In those situations when you are waiting, you can practice for the interview because they will normally give some kind of guidance as to what they expect from you if it's a longer interview process. But try out progressive muscle relaxation therapy. You just sit down, you control your breathing, and then you tense your muscle groups and release. That'll just help give your body a way to relax so that you're not completely tense and wound up. But doing that will also help your mind to relax. One thing that helped me a lot is having mints. I don't particularly like mints, and I don't know why it works. I assume it's because it's a distraction, but having a pack of Polo mints made the world of difference for me. It just helped me stay at a lower level of anxiety rather than just ending up as an anxiety attack. In an interview, when you're getting nervous, one of the things that they look for is good eye contact. And obviously when you're nervous, it's hard to look somebody in the eye. People who suffer with anxiety often are more submissive in nature, so they'll look away, they'll avoid eye contact. You don't really want to do that in an interview, but it's hard to force yourself to actually maintain eye contact and listen to what they're saying. There's usually like a 3-second rule. If you stare at somebody for longer than 3 seconds, it's a bit awkward. So just try to, look at them, nod, look right between the eyes if you have to, because again, when you're nervous and you're overthinking things, you then start flitting between the two eyes. Just look straight ahead, nod, act interested. If you need to look away, look at something that's behind them, just briefly, and then regain eye contact. Once you do that, it usually relaxes you, and then you can just move forward and you won't be thinking about it as much. Going over the first hurdle is the hardest part. So you get into the room, it's awkward, but just try to be yourself. Something that I learned in my interview process at university, as I said, it's different from a job, but just be yourself. At the end of the day, when you're working somewhere, you still want to be you. You don't want to be like, I put on this facade and now I've got to maintain it for as long as I have this job. You want to enjoy your job as much as possible because it will play out the majority of your life. You will be at your work more than you're with your friends or with your family. So you want to be able to be yourself. And often that's good enough. People like to connect with other people. You don't have to be a robot. You don't have to present yourself as a perfect person. You just want to present yourself as an asset. You want to say, I am capable of this. I know what I'm doing. It might take me some time, but I can learn. You want to show your best version of yourself that is still you. So remember, be honest, be yourself. If you need to make jokes to ease the tension. Try and relax your body as much as you can because that will relax your mind. Don't forget to breathe. Be prepared, and just remember, if it doesn't happen, there's some bigger reason as to why it didn't work out. I hope you found this video helpful. Drop a thumbs up if you did. Comment down below an interview tip that works for you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.